Being independent is so important because the mind is independent. If you want to live with a flock, that means you are not a mind anymore. You may have heard about human beings. Human beings are social animals. Human beings are social animals. Social animals means a human being need another human being to live, to talk, to associate. If you think that you are a human being, then you need another person to associate, another human being to associate. If you really can't find another human being, you will find an animal to associate. Because your mind thinks that it's a being and it's a human being, especially because your mind always thinks that it's a human being. Therefore, you need an association. But the mind, if you are a mind, the mind doesn't need an association of a being. The mind wants to associate views. Because with the help of views, mind can be created with the help of a view. View is very important to the mind. A human being is very important to a human being. Therefore, each time when you associate a human being, and if you think that I'm associating a human being or I'm associating a being, then ignorance is empowered. By saying, I'm not teaching you, I'm not saying that you don't have to associate other people. But when you associate other people, you should think that actually you are associating a view, not a being. Because you always get a view from someone. When you read a book, you associate a view, you get a view, and you use it. When the mind is created, the mind uses it. Without a view, a mind can't be created. That's why when you do something, when you talk, when you think, you always use views. Because the mind can't be created without a view. Therefore, if you can think about that, when you associate someone, then you can suppress or you can eradicate ignorance. But if you really like to stay with other people, if you like to stay in a group, then ignorance will be empowered. But you can associate people. That's why I told you, I'm not saying that you have to be alone. I'm not asking you to go to a jungle and stay alone. What I'm asking is, when you associate someone, you need to understand. By seeing something, by listening to something, you always get views. Other than that, you can't get anything. You can get a view as well as some experience. Some experience means when you see something, a color is created in your mind. Because color is not in the world. Color is created in your mind. That's the experience of the mind. In your namagota, in your memory, you can save them. Actually, those things are saved in your namagota. That's an experience. That's an experience of the mind. It's only an experience. Because you can't find colors in outside world. Colors are created in the mind. Sound is created in the mind. Then you can take that experience. In your memory, you have those experiences. Apart from that, you get views. That's the only thing the mind associates. Views and memory. Therefore, when you associate someone, Actually, you take views as well as those experiences, such as sound, colors. Colors are created and the mind perceives it. It's a process. Then mind can experience those things. Other than that, you can't associate any person. Perhaps you think that you associate a person. Perhaps you think that you associate Guru Hamdru right now. Because Guru Hamdru is created in your mind. You think that Guru Hamdru is an entity. That's how you feel. That's how you perceive, because the mind is ignorant and mind only can perceive this process as an entity. Therefore, the mind believes that this is an entity, and that's how it perceives. Then the mind thinks that you associate Guru Hamdru right now. But actually what you experience is colors are created, sound is created, and the mind perceives all of them, and views are taken. When the sound is created, the mind can take a view from that sound. A bit of sound is created each time. When a mind is created, a bit of sound is created. When another mind is created, a bit of sound is created. After that, the mind aggregates all of them, all the bits of sounds which has been created. Then the mind can perceive them once, as a whole. Then a word or a sentence is created. After that, the mind uses the memory, which is called Namaga, and tries to interpret the word, the sentence which is created. Then a view is generated. The mind uses that view and creates itself. This is how it works. But you always perceive that you associate a human being, you associate an entity. When you think that, ignorance is empowered. Therefore, this is the root. If you can use the Dhamma, this is the root. Therefore, try to understand that bit also, that bit as well. After that, I want you to act independently. I want you to act independently because you know the importance of acting independently. If you depend on something, that means your mind is so weak, you are needy. If you depend on something, that means if you want a person to live, that means your mind is so needy, so clingy. If the mind is clingy, definitely suffering is created in the mind, because the mind can't live without that object or that person. Anyway, an object is created in the mind, a person is created in the mind, because the mind always perceives everything as entities. Therefore, the mind wants them. When the mind perceives something as an entity, attachment is created. Then the mind gets attached to that object or that person. That's why perhaps you have a favorite teacher. You have a favorite friend. Perhaps a mother has her favorite child. A sister has her favorite brother. Favorite. Because attachment is created in the mind. But you really want to eradicate attachment. You don't want attachment to be created. But you can't stop that. If the mind is ignorant, the process has been activated. You can't stop that. Then your mind is clingy. Then your mind is dependent. Attachment is created. then vexation is created. You all know the reason to vexation. Vexation is created due to attachment. Then if you are clingy, you are always vexed. Therefore, try to be independent. Help everyone. Being independent means not sitting alone, not living alone. You stay with others. You help everyone. Whoever needs your help, you will help them lavishly. And you will work out of compassion. But you are not clingy. That means you can live without anything. And finally, you can't be clingy with your body. You can't be clingy with your mind, your views, your experiences. If you have seen a color, if you are clingy, then you have to create the color over and over again. That's called attachment. When the mind is clingy, that means the mind gets attached to that color. But color is not in outside world. Therefore, the mind has to create the color. That's why you often visit many places to see colors, because you have seen a color before and your mind got attached. Now the mind needs it. The mind wants it. Therefore, the mind forces your body to walk. And you use your knowledge. You means the mind again. The mind uses its knowledge. Because if you really want to go to a flower garden, then you should know how to go, how to walk, how to get a bus, how to earn some money. And the mind has its memory. The mind has its memory. The mind uses the memory and walk and earn some money. That's why the mind wanted to be educated. Be educated about everything. That's why the mind wants to be knowledgeable. That's why you always seek for knowledge. And you believe that knowledge is power. Actually, it's correct. But it's wrong. Knowledge is power. Why? When you are clingy, when you are vexed, you can use knowledge to come out of vexation. You can use your knowledge to earn money. When you are wealthy, if you think that you are well off and you are happy, knowledge is power. The mind believes that because the mind didn't have a chance to come across the Lord Buddha's Dhamma. Therefore, the mind doesn't know the truth. The mind thinks that it can be happy by doing something else, by practicing something. That's why the mind uses all its knowledge to be happy. That's why the mind collects all the knowledge in the world. It is thirsty of knowledge. It wants to collect because then it can use. When the mind is vexed, the mind can use that knowledge to be happy. That's why people are looking for knowledge. That's why people read books. By reading books, they try to collect knowledge. But if you really want to be happy, you don't want to read books. I think that's why you don't read. You're intelligent. You don't have to read books. You just need to understand. By reading a book, you can get a view, many views. Then it will convert to knowledge. then you can keep knowledge with you. Whenever you are vexed, you can use knowledge and you can come out of vexation. But when each time when you come out of vexation, you feel pleasure, then the mind believes that world is pleasurable. When the mind believes that the world is pleasurable, the mind doesn't want to come out of the world. It wants to stay in the world, and it will strongly believe that world is pleasurable and I should stay in the world. And it will strongly believe that I am an entity, the world is an entity, I live in the world. Like you feel right now. You feel you are in this class because you can see a class. When you look around, you can see many people. You can see a massive hall. You can see all these equipment. Then you believe that you are in a class. You are in a hall with other people, and you are among other people. There's a world that exists here. You are a part of that world. I'm not talking about things that are made of 4 basic elements. I'm talking about what you have experienced. Because you can't see things that are made of 4 basic elements. You only can see your experience. Your experience, that means the mind experiences only colors, smells, sound. From them, a world is created. That's the world you experience. But that world is created in your mind. That world doesn't exist here. But your mind believes that you live in the world. If the mind is ignorant, the mind doesn't know that the world is created in your mind. If the mind knows that, then the mind believes, or the mind won't believe that the world is pleasurable. How can the world is pleasurable if the world can't be seen? World is created each time. If something is created each time, how can it be pleasurable? But if the world exists, then it can be pleasurable. If the world exists and you can see the world, you can see the existing world, then that world can be pleasurable. But if the world is created each time, when you see, when you hear, if the world is created at that time, how can that world be pleasurable? That's what you need to understand. But if the mind believes that the world is pleasurable, then the mind will accept all views which is coming from outside. Then the mind believes about beautiful things, beautiful songs, delicious food. Then the mind believes, because the mind thinks that the world is pleasurable. Then the mind will find a method to experience happiness, because it will believe that happiness is on outside. Because if the mind believes that the world is beautiful, beautiful, what do you mean by beautiful? When someone says beautiful, what do you feel? Happiness or sadness? What do you feel? Happiness. That means actually when the mind is happy by seeing something, the mind believes that it's beautiful. That's why it said, beauty lies on the eyes of the beholder. Beauty lies on the eyes of the beholder, but not on the eyes of the beholder, not the eyes we are talking about. It is created in the mind. When the mind sees something, if the mind can be happy, happy means actually it's not happiness, it's pleasure. If a pleasure is created, or if pleasure is created, then the mind believes that it's a beautiful scenery. It's a beautiful place. That's how you can see beautiful things. But when you see beautiful things, if you can't understand about the beauty, about things, about the world, then you can't eradicate ignorance. Because your ignorant mind always perceives these things. If you see beauty, your mind is ignorant. That's why the mind perceives beauty. Otherwise, the mind should understand the beauty or beauty. If you feel that something is beautiful, you should understand. Then you will see how the beauty is created. You need to understand. Otherwise, if you see beautiful things, if you perceive beautiful things, then you will be clingy after that. Because you want to see that over and over again. Then you will go to a place to see that. Because last time when you went to that place, you saw it. Then you thought that that was there. Therefore, I must go there and see. Because you didn't understand. Therefore, you must understand the world. That's what the Buddha said. You should understand the world. You should understand the world means you don't have to go to Mars and understand it. You don't have to go to the moon and understand it. Mars and moon is not the world we are talking about. We are talking about the world which is created in your mind. That's the colorful world. That has a sound. That has taste. That has the touch. That has everything. But if you go to the moon, if you go to the sun, you will only have 4 basic elements. 4 basic elements can't be touched, can't be tasted, can't be smelled, can't be heard, can't be seen. Therefore, you can't associate 4 basic elements. Then this can't be the world. Therefore, mass can't be the world. Therefore, if you want to discover something, if you want to know about something, you need to know about the world that you have experienced so far. Try to understand that. The Buddha asks us to understand the world. Understand the world and accept it. That's what he said. If you don't understand the world, you will reject the world, or you will be clingy with the world. You will get attached with the world. If you don't understand it. Rejections and attachment. That's what happens all the time. If you don't understand it, then you will love or you will hate. Because you can't accept. I want you to accept. Because the Buddha asks us to accept the world, not to change the world. You don't have to change the world. Change the world means, now actually it has 2 meanings. You need to get the proper meaning. When I say you don't have to change the world, that doesn't mean that you need to help others and let them be rich or let them be educated. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that world. I'm talking about the world that you have experienced. The colorful world. The world with sound. I'm talking about that. You don't have to change that. You need to accept that. When red color is created in your mind, you don't have to change into green color. You need to accept that. You need to accept, because you can accept that if you are not a being, but if you are a being, then you have your own wantings. If you have your own wantings, then you are vexed. Then you need to fight for that. Then you will fight for that, and you will try to achieve it. That's how you use your life. But your life is there to accept the world. If you can practice to accept the world, one day you will win. But if you can't accept the world, then you will fail, because each time you need to fight for your wantings, to get your wantings. When the mind is vexed, the mind is suffering. Therefore, the mind is restless. The mind is the most destitute thing in the world, I'm telling you. Because the mind can't associate anything which is fixed. Everything should be created in the mind, because the mind itself also should be created. The mind can't stay somewhere and experience anything, because the mind is a process. Unfortunately, the mind believes that it's a being, it's a fixed thing. Therefore, the mind wants to stay somewhere and experience other things. But that doesn't happen like that. That's why the mind should understand it first. It's like someone should understand that he is a human being. Let's assume that someone believes that he is an animal. He is a dog. Therefore, he tries to do things that dogs do. Then first of all, you should teach him that you are a human being. Behave like a human being. Otherwise, he will act as a dog, and he will suffer, because he is a human being, but he is acting as a dog. Therefore, first of all, he should understand that he is a human being. Likewise, the mind should understand that it's a process. If the mind believes that it's an entity, then it wants to stay somewhere and experience the world. It's so destitute, because it's not. It's not an entity. It has to be created. It has to be created, and colors are created with the mind. Therefore, the mind can't see how the color is created. Have you seen? Have you seen how the color is created? No one can experience that, because color is created at the beginning of the process of the mind. The mind is a process, as you all know. At the beginning, the color is created. After that, the mind notifies it. That's also another part of the mind. Then the mind will recognize that. That means recognition is created. First of all, the color is created. Then the notification is created. Notification of that color. It notifies that the color is created. That's how you see something. Then recognition is created. After that, perception is created. All those things are processes. When you collect all of them, you can say that it's the mind. But if the mind thinks that it's a being, it's an entity, how can the mind see the process of the color? Can't see. The mind can experience. Now you can see that the mind has to create itself and create something else that it needs. That's why the mind is restless. If you want to experience happiness, you have to tame this mind. To tame this mind, it's so easy. I'm telling you. It's so easy, because the hardest part has been done. You don't have to invent anything now. You don't have to discover anything now. Everything is discovered. Everything is discovered. That's why you should worship. You should worship 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times to the Buddha, because he has found everything for us. You don't have to find how to achieve your salvation. He has found it, and he has preached to us. We have the Dhamma, we know the path. You don't have to invent a path. You don't have to discover a path. he has discovered it, he has practiced, and he has gone through the path. He has walked on the path, and he found the salvation. He found the way. Now we have to create our own way to the salvation. That's why you just need to understand. You just need to understand. You don't have to invent. You don't have to discover. Understand this. Understand about your mind. Then if you can understand that your mind is so destitute, then you will do something to heal your mind. Because the mind is the most precious thing, and actually the mind is you. If you do something, actually the mind does something. Don't ever think that you do something. Nothing is called you. That's only a sense. That's called the false sense of existence. It's only a sense. It doesn't exist. It exists in the mind. That's only a false sense. But the mind exists. The mind is true. The mind perceives things. The mind feels things. You can see, you can experience that. The mind feels happiness or pleasure. The mind feels sorrow, sadness, suffering, vexation. The mind feels fear. The mind feels jealousy. The mind feels inferiority complex. The mind feels everything. Therefore, the main responsibility of the mind should be cure itself. Actually, everyone tries to cure the mind. That's why they go for parties. That's why they sing songs. That's why they dance. That's why they play. That's why they do everything. They try to heal the mind. Everybody feels vexation. When the mind feels vexation, the mind needs a way to come out of that. That's why people have discovered a billion ways to come out of vexation. But the Buddha has discovered only one way. Look, actually, who are the Buddha? The real Buddha could find only one way. Now he said that there is only one way to heal your mind, only one way to purify your mind. Therefore, you had to practice that way. You had to walk on that way. But people have found a million ways to come out of vexation, but still they are vexed and they will suffer forever. Therefore, if you live your life for finding happiness, you will find happiness forever, and you won't be able to find it. Because happiness is inbuilt. Right now, you are happy, but you can't feel it, you can't experience it, because your vexation is more powerful than happiness. That's the reason. Therefore, let's do something to eradicate vexation. To eradicate vexation, you need good views, but you don't need people. You need good views to eradicate vexation. That's why I told you, you had to be very independent. You had to be with your friends. That's totally fine. But you don't depend on anyone, because you understand that you are a mind. You need only views. But to protect your body, you need other people. That's why you should work out of compassion. You should show your clemency to others. And you should help each other. And you should help everyone to be independent. Because you should believe that everybody is a mind. We are talking about everybody's, everyone's, but they are not ones or they are not bodies. They are minds. In each body, with the help of each body, a mind is created. That mind should be independent. That's the natural way of the mind. Therefore, always try to be independent. Another thing is, if you are so clingy and if you always ask for help, then most of the time your mind won't be tough. Because your mind should be very strong. Because this is a tough path. Don't expect spoon feeding. You just need to get up. You just need to rise up. Arise and move forward. Arise and move forth. That's very important. But to do so, your mind should be very strong. But if you are so clingy, your mind is so weak because you expect things to happen. If you expect things to happen, then your mind is so weak because the mind doesn't have that energy to move forward. Therefore, you have to energize your mind by being independent. Even though you are ill, try to be independent. Try to be independent. Try. I know it's hard, but can you remember when you were with your parents? Perhaps when you are ill, you remember your parents because perhaps your friends, your colleagues never pet you like that. When you are ill, your mother will do everything. Then if you stay with your mother, you will be so clingy. You'll be so clingy and you will be so dependent and your mind won't be strong. That's why a child who lives with his parents is so weak because he is dependent. Children who don't have parents, they are very strong because they can't be dependent. They don't have anyone to be dependent. They have to live with their own. They have to help themselves. They have to find food. But you had your mother to feed you with a silver spoon, perhaps. And she has done everything for you. She had cooked for you. Then you didn't have to cook. She had washed your clothing. You didn't have to do them. When you are ill, you had been treated well, and you got a first class treatment from your mother all the time. Then you can't be strong. Therefore, when you are ill, please don't expect that treatment. Be strong. Your body is ill, I believe that, but your mind can't be. Don't try to be identified with diseases. Don't try to be identified with all illnesses. That is, I am ill. But if the mind is ignorant, you always feel that, oh, I am ill. When the body is ill, then the mind feels that I am ill. Then when you are ill, what should you do? When you are ill, normally, you will give up. You will give everything up. And what will you do? And you will be clingy and dependent. And you say, oh, please help me. I can't do anything. Look, you can't talk either because you are ill. Because you pretend, not you. The mind pretends as an ill person. The body is ill. The body has many ailments. We know that because this is the body. It has 1,000 components. It has 1,000 things. It is because it is called body. It has a billion cells, organs. It is made of million things. It's made of a million things. Therefore, something may have a defect. Then the body is ill. The whole body is ill. When we say that, when you have a headache, you have a headache. Do you have a toothache at that time? Then how do you say that my body is ill? You can say that my head is ill. Will you say that? My head is ill. My tooth is, one of my teeth is ill. Do you say that? No, I am ill. Body temperature increases. Then you think that, oh, I am ill. Therefore, the body is ill all the time. If one part is ill, you believe that the whole body is ill. When the whole body is ill, the mind believes that I am ill. Therefore, now you can use it like a beggar uses his wounds to beg. Because if he cures his wounds, nobody will give him money. He can show his wounds to others and say that I'm a beggar, I'm helpless. Please help me. Then have you seen those types of beggars? They will die as a beggar. If you become a beggar in your mind, if you start to ask for things, in your mind you are an empty person. You are empty. Therefore, you won't get anything. If you want to be rich, you should be rich in your mind. You should be satisfied in your mind. If you can't be satisfied, then you are a beggar in your mind. If you are a beggar, you won't get anything because you always ask for things. You don't want to give anything. You will give something when you feel that you have enough. That's how it is. You feel that you have enough when you have something in your mind. But if you feel emptiness in your heart, in your mind, then you won't give anything. If you won't give anything, you won't. If you don't give anything, then you won't get anything. Then you will remain as a beggar. Therefore, if you decide to be beggar, you will be beggar forever. If you decide to be dependent, you will be dependent forever. If you are dependent, then you can't be independent one day. If you are dependent with one thing, next time you will be dependent with another. Next time you will be dependent with another. Then at the beginning you may have few things, but at the end you will have a million things that you are dependent on and clingy. Then you can't leave them behind and move forward. Then what happens? You will come back. Remember this, before you die. Before you die, the mind should be satisfied. Because unsatisfied mind will be reborn. Therefore, think about these things. Try to understand your own mind. And try to see that how destitute it is. If you can't understand that the mind is so destructive, you will only do something to cure the mind. You won't waste time to cure the mind. Therefore, practice something valuable. Practice something important. Don't waste your time. You can achieve your salvation tomorrow if you want. But until that, you have to suffer. You can postpone your salvation to tomorrow if you can be happy today. But the problem is you are burning, but you are going to postpone your salvation. Think about that. Each time when you feel lazy, when you postpone things to tomorrow, especially your salvation, think about that. Because you are going to postpone your salvation. Do you think that shows your intelligence? If you postpone your salvation, can you postpone one of your meals? Can you do that? Can you postpone your breakfast to dinner by skipping your breakfast and lunch? Can you do that? It's hard. It's hard. I know. It's hard. But you can postpone your salvation to another 5 years due to lack of understanding. People know, people talk about salvation, but actually they don't know the meaning of salvation. Everybody is suffering from inferiority complex. Therefore, sometimes they try to achieve their salvation because others are doing that. Therefore, they decide, no, I must achieve my salvation because they are doing it. If they achieve salvation, in case, then I'll be inferior to them. I can't allow that to happen. Therefore, I must achieve my salvation. Let me be a monk. Let me be a nun. If you have these thoughts in your mind, eradicate them. Eradicate them because that's not how you achieve your salvation. Each time, try to use your time, which means your life, to understand. Don't postpone anything. Understand it, because this is the only sanctuary you got. The Buddha's Dhamma, the Buddha's doctrine. Use them and try to win your own battle. There is only one battle you can win forever. That victory can't be taken. No one can change that victory. No one can take that victory. Try to win. Try to achieve that victory. Win yourself. This is what Buddha said. Winning yourself is the greatest victory in the world, because that will be the last battle. That will be the greatest battle. And you don't have to fight again if you have that victory. Look how nice these words are. If words are so nice, if you experience this, that's what you need to do. Experience this. I want all of you to experience this because you have dedicated your life to your salvation. You are the most fortunate people in the world. You have dedicated your life because you have seen something. You are not normal people. You are extraordinary because you have seen something different. Something different. You have seen something different and you wanted to think out of the box because you saw that I have been doing all these things, but still I'm suffering. Still I'm vexed. I must find a way. I must do something. I must think differently. I must do something because if you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, you are a lunatic. But that's what happened to the world because they don't have any other choice because their vexation is so high. As I told you, they are destitute. They are devastated. Therefore, they have to do the same thing over and over again. They go for parties today, and next week they will go to another party. A week after, they will go to another party. And they know that, why should I go to the next party if I have achieved happiness in this party? They know that. They are not idiots. They are lunatics. The mind is a lunatic. The mind has knowledge. Therefore, you can't say that the mind is an idiot. The mind is a lunatic. That's why the mind does things over and over again. And it is vexed. Therefore, it can't see the truth. It can't see any other ways. It can't think about any other ways. Try to see this. But you have seen. You are the luckiest. You have seen. And you wanted to change this lifestyle. That's what happened to the Mahabodhisattva. Prince Siddhartha. He had a luxurious life because his father wanted him to be the greatest king in the world, king to every region, every world. Therefore, he had created a luxurious life for his prince, his son. But Prince Siddhartha wanted to find the truth. And he used all those luxuries and he couldn't be satisfied. And he wanted to think out of the box. He saw that everybody wants to practice the same path. Everybody wants to do the same thing. Everybody wants to acquire luxuries. That's what he saw. But anybody or nobody is ready to win the battle. He has seen the battle. He has seen the death, but he wanted to win that. Illnesses, decaying, aging. He wanted to win all these things. But others, they have accepted that. They have accepted that. Oh, that's nature. That will happen to everyone. Everyone will die. Therefore, before you die, you need to enjoy your life. That's their motto. Everyone dies, but before you die, you have to enjoy your life. That's why people try to enjoy their life to the fullest before they die. But nobody wants to win the battle because they haven't seen the battle. poverty. Perhaps poverty is their battle. Therefore, they try to be rich. That's why people are talking about poverty. That's why people are talking about health. That's why people are talking about education. Everybody wants to get a proper education. Therefore, I will spend all my money to give a proper education to everyone. That's how some people think. But that's good. That's good. They have the golden heart, I believe that. But those things are very small battles. But the main battle is, how can I win my death? How can I find a permanent cure to my illnesses? How can I heal my heart permanently? One day you will win. If you start moving, you will walk a mile. If you want to walk a mile, you should start with a step. You have done that. Therefore, if someone achieves his salvation in the future, that must be you. If someone can't start his journey, if someone can't think about or think differently, he won't be able to move. Therefore, you got this chance. Let's practice. Let's be independent. Understand the Dhamma and be independent. Don't be clingy. Energize your mind all the time and see your importance, because you have understood the Dhamma and you have developed compassion. You have developed loving kindness. You are so precious if you have developed all these things. And if you have a good understanding about the Dhamma, you are so different and you are so precious. The world needs you to heal its heart. Think about that. When you want to waste your time, think about that, because you don't have time to waste. Because if you waste a minute, few people will go to hell. If you delay something in the future without getting the Dhamma, people will go to hell. Think about that. Because you have the Dhamma. You got the chance to bear the Dhamma, the doctrine of the Buddha, the rarest one. This chance is the rarest chance in the world to become an Arahant, to see the salvation, not to achieve, at least to see the salvation. If you can see the salvation through the Dhamma, then you can become a Sri Mantra. You can protect the world. You bear good views. Therefore, you can spread good views. You can become a flower to spread nice smell, fragrant to the world and heal their heart. That's what you should do. When you waste your time, you should think about that. You have a huge future, a nice future. The world needs you. Don't waste your time. Think about that all the time. Think about that and empower your mind and develop compassion, loving kindness in your heart. When you practice loving kindness, think about other people. That's what the loving kindness is. Think about other people. How can I heal their hearts? How can I heal their minds? How can I stop suffering? How can I stop the process of suffering being created? How can I pass the noble view you got from your teachers, from the noble lineage which has been started from the Buddha? How can I pass that wisdom to someone? You should dream about it. If you delay, many people will fail. It's like you are the doctor who found a cure to coronavirus. Let's assume that. Now you have the cure. People are falling like flies. That means they are dying each day, each minute, each second. You have the cure. What should you do? Will you take 3 meals or 5? That's why. With the Dhamma, you should develop compassion. You should understand the importance of your life, or the importance of what you have become. You have associated Mahasangha. You got the doctrine of the Buddha, and you have understood the life. You have understood the world. You have understood the universe, nature, and you have become a wonderful woman. Now you can help. Then tell me, how long would you take to have your all meal? You have the cure. If you are the doctor, how long will you take to talk unnecessary things with each other? How long will you take to be clingy? Or will you work hard? That's why if you can develop loving kindness each day, if you can develop compassion each day, then you will practice. You will practice because you know that in the future, people's happiness will be on your hand. Today, you can decide about happiness of the future generation. Think about that. That's on your hand. When you fall asleep, think about that. If you miss the chance to understand the Dhamma, you will suffer. Not only you, but also future generation will suffer. Therefore, you have a great responsibility. If you can bear this responsibility, that responsibility itself leads you to Nibbana. That's how compassion and loving kindness leads you to Nibbana. Because if you can spread loving kindness, if you can develop loving kindness, first of all, you will heal your heart, heal your mind, first of all. That's the very first thing you do, because loving kindness is completely opposite to suffering. If the same mind feels suffering, then the mind with loving kindness cures that mind first. Loving kindness is not dependent on a face, a gender, a race. It's only dependent on suffering. If suffering is created, then loving kindness wants to heal that heart. Therefore, it will hurt your mind first. If you can develop loving kindness, that must be real loving kindness, noble loving kindness. Otherwise, if you expect others to be rich, well educated, and eradication of poverty, so on and so forth, that's not noble loving kindness. Noble loving kindness is, if suffering is created, that must be ceased. It is so simple as that. But to do it, it's so hard. But loving kindness is to stop or to cease the process of suffering. Who's suffering? Who's suffering? That doesn't depend. That doesn't depend on anything. If suffering is created, loving kindness is there to cure. Suffering is created in animal's heart as well. But the problem is, even though you have loving kindness in your heart, in your mind, You can't treat them because they can't get views. Other than that, you will help. You will help everyone. Then if you think about that, in the future, you have to help everyone. Think about this country. Think about India. Think about China, America. Think about Africa. Think about everyone. Everybody needs, because everyone has a mind. Suffering is created in all the minds. You only can heal them. Can you imagine the responsibility you are dealing with? You are so little to bear such kind of responsibility. But you had to. That's why you came here. Therefore, don't think that you are so tiny. You are not. Among 8.5 billion people, you have been chosen. Actually, I don't know why, but you have been chosen. I always believe that nature is perfect. Then this is the perfect. This is the perfectness. Therefore, I can't guess anything. I can't predict anything. Perhaps you are the best for this position. Then you had to prove that. Maybe cleaning all the pots, all the rice pots and curry pots. Yes, you can be the perfect one. You don't have to prove that. I'm the perfect one to empty all these things. That's not the reason. Then you have to prove that you are worthy. You are worthy to this position. You are worthy to become a disciple of the Buddha. Show that you are worthy. Show that nature is always correct. Nature has chosen you because you are worthy. You need to prove that. Therefore, please don't waste your time. Encourage yourself. Encourage each other. Think about the future generation. They'll be so dry because they don't have the rain of the Dhamma. Their mind is so dry and will be because they need the Dhamma to soften their hearts. You can do that. You can become a good farmer. You can convert a land to a paddy field by using the Dhamma. A dry land, useless land for plantation or for planting, you can convert them to a beautiful paddy field by adding water, the Dhamma. Then what are you waiting for? May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you. Thank you.